welcome to the Disobedient Ones podcast, a show that focuses on sexual health and wellness from an LGBTQ plus perspective. We are going to talk about sex, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, some things that are funny, some things that are sad, toys, tips, tricks, current events, and we're going to have a little bit of fun as we do it. My name is Sin. I'm the co-owner of Disobedience, our little sex shop right here in Denver, Colorado, and I'll be your host. Today, we have a special guest joining us for our inaugural episode. She is the CEO of Black Alchemy. So a little bit about this amazing company. Black Alchemy is a plant-based sensual wellness and body care brand whose mission is to affirm Black women and femmes all over the planet. We were introduced to Black Alchemy at an event in Nashville, Tennessee, and we instantly fell in love. So without further ado, please welcome the CEO and Chief Alchemist of Black Alchemy, Barella Roberson. Hello, Barella. How are you?
Hey, Sin. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, my God. Of course. It's so good. I know we've kind of been missing each other back and forth. It's so very good to finally catch up and do this with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, who's all involved in Black Alchemy and how did it come to be?
Well, first of all, I didn't realize that this is your inaugural episode, so I'm so honored that I'm your first guest. Thank you so much. It's amazing. So Black Alchemy was founded officially last summer on Juneteenth. And our primary objective was to create products by and for Black women and femmes. We wanted our branding to be inclusive. We wanted our products to be safe. And we wanted the spirit of the brand to be something that really resonated with women of color, with queer women, and femmes, and particularly Black women. So we wanted to speak to them specifically. We wanted to use ingredients that they were aware of: murumuru butter, jojoba butter, essential oils derived from plants from the diaspora. So we wanted it to be a cultural experience. I would describe the brand as being at the intersection of melanated skincare, clean beauty, and sexual wellness, which are all emerging subcategories of beauty and personal care. My background is in beauty marketing, product development, business development. I've done every aspect of marketing and branding for emerging brands like the Refig, and Shailene, all the way to very popular and well-known household names like Dove, like Madam C.J. Walker, like Carol's Daughter, NARS, Essie, L'Oreal. So those are some of the brands that I've worked for, either in-house or as a consultant. In 2019, I finished my MBA in sustainability, and so I wanted to pivot to focus on social and environmental impact. That led me to becoming a strategist on an HIV project. It was for the marketing campaign to support the launch of Aptitude, which is the world's first injectable PrEP drug. Nice. And a lot of people don't realize that the two PrEP pills, which will remain nameless, only one is safe for women, and neither have been tested on women. So the Aptitude is the first HIV preventative that has actually included cisgender women in clinical trials, which is really, really important. Our bodies have very specific needs. It's not just about, adjusting the dosage for our weight and height. Our bodies work differently. And so it's really important that any pharmaceutical product that we use, we want to make sure that they've been tested on women. During the course of that project, I met our founder, Tia Marie Mosley, who came up with the idea before we even met. She came up with the idea over the pandemic. She is the co-founder of Sex Down South, which is a Black femme-centered sexual wellness conference and education conference that is so inclusive and warm. It's just like a big family reunion with a bunch of neurodiverse, kinky Black folk, and I love every second of it. And so after I attended, I was like, this is amazing. She told me about the idea for a brand. I told her, well, that's my background. I don't really do pharmaceutical. I was kind of brought on because I'm just good. But it was a huge learning curve for me because it's not my space. And so she shared, how far she had gotten, which is basically like concept and kind of, playing with some formulas kind of amateurly. And so we partnered up and I ended up, spearheading the product development, putting together the branding, the story, and now I oversee the sales efforts and partnering with folks like you. So that's the backstory of Black Alchemy.
Absolutely. Oh my God, that's so amazing. So let's talk about your products.
Yes.
The holidays are coming, fast. Seems like this year was just a blink. So what are the products that you have available? But most importantly, which one is your favorite?
Oh my gosh, that's such a hard question to answer. So we launched with 3 flagship products. We have a flavor and fragrance-free personal lubricant called Drenched. It comes in a very beautiful, sleek glass bottle. We're all about recyclable packaging over here, no virgin plastic, and no toxic chemicals. It's really clean, 3 ingredients. I'm personally very much against flavored lubes because they never taste like what the label says. It doesn't actually taste like strawberries. It tastes like chemical that mimics strawberries.
Right.
And our whole thing is, taste your lover, not our lube. Like we want
Love that.
to kind of break down, the barriers of, not so much like masking our natural scents in our pheromones, but like using products that enhance it, that kind of create a complete sensorial experience, which includes touch and fragrance, right? And smell. Right. So Drench is amazing. It's hands down my favorite lube. We just partnered up with the Museum of Sex, and the buyer told me flat out that this is one of her favorite lubes.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
A great endorsement. Everybody loves it. The second product is I don't know, I can't say which one is my favorite, but our second product, Penetrate, is a package-free lotion bar. So it's kind of like a bar of soap, but it's made with a whole bunch of like juicy, delicious, hydrating juices and berries. As Eddie Murphy said. The oils and butters, fragrance with USDA grade level vanilla. So it smells amazing. It's a great self-care tool to just like take out the time to just connect with your body when you're moisturizing your body in the morning. It smells amazing, but it's not so overpowering that you can't add a separate fragrance. And it's also a great tool for couples. If you want to, massage your partner, you don't have to stop and reapply and pump, whatever the oil or lotion is and reapply. You can just keep on going in a singular motion. And that really kind of creates that intimacy that we all love and crave. Our third product is a body and massage oil called Devotion. Again, it's water-free, which means that we don't have to add harmful preservatives to keep the product going because we only add what is actually necessary, and that is those oils and botanical extracts that soothe, heal, hydrate, and nourish the skin. So of the 3, it's hard for me to say. I really love the bar and the lube. I'll say I love the bar and the lube the most.
Oh, the bar was our favorite. We fell in love with it, especially being here in Colorado. It's so dry. Yes. It is so dry, and we would put it on like at night, go to bed, wake up. It's like silk.
Yes.
And it lasts so long.
It absolutely does. It absolutely does. And again, I always tell consumers that, I stopped buying body lotions years ago because if you look at the ingredient list, 100% of the time, the first ingredient is water. And then everything else, is actually in there, but in much lower concentrations. And so you're essentially putting water and a whole bunch of other stuff on your skin. Right. And that's why you're not getting the hydration and the long lasting hydration that you want. So it's just always better. And some people, they need more hydration than others. My skin is very dry. I like really thick butters. I also like oils. So, I use all 3 of our products all year long. We wanted to have an option for people who didn't want to use something as thick as a lotion bar. So they have the essential oil, fragranced body oil to choose from.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. No, the lotion bar, all the way. All the way. Oh, my God. We just fell in love with that one when we got that free sample from you back in Nashville. We went back to the room, the hotel room, and we tried it. I was like, we were like, oh, my God. I was like, we really have to carry this, but we'll get into all that in a minute. So do you see Black Alchemy as a radical act, especially for Black women? And what does sexual empowerment mean to you?
Yes. So, so the whole philosophy of the brand and the whole reason why we wanted to launch these products was because we wanted, safer products with natural ingredients as a way to kind of educate about, racialized beauty in particular. So when you talk about racialized beauty, you're talking about products that are very, very strategically targeted to women and femmes of color. And they are meant to kind of, alter the appearance of your ethnicity to some regard, whether that is hair straighteners and skin lightening creams.
Skin lighteners, yeah.
Those categories of product are among the most toxic. And then there's others when you talk about, there's been a lot of hoopla in the media about lead being found in tampons, including organic tampons. So this runs the full gamut of sexual wellness, which includes lubricants, sex toys, all kinds of aids and devices, many of which are electronic, as well as body care and personal care. So what's really scary, for instance, about a personal lubricant that is unsafe, similar to a tampon that is unsafe, women are putting these products in and around the most sensitive parts of their bodies. And what we found about many of these toxic chemicals is that they can really impact your fertility health. They can lead to miscarriages and infertility and all kinds of, issues after you have a baby, postpartum. In addition to, cancers, respiratory diseases like asthma, skin irritations on the light side. So this brand gives us an opportunity to talk about what we put in our products and also what we don't put in them. As far as the branding and the community that we're trying to build, we want to make sure that everyone is welcome to shop with us, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of if you're a girly girl who, goes to spas and likes twerking on the weekends, you love makeup, or, you have a shaved head and you dress in baggy clothes. Everyone deserves pleasure. Everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves to have a brand that speaks to them and created products with them in mind. And so we do that in our language. We do that in our the events that we participate in. We do that in terms of like how intentional we are with retail partners such as yourselves. We over-index on women-owned, queer-owned, and folks of color-owned businesses that have aligned mission when it comes to sexual health. With regard to agency in sexual health, particularly among women of color, so one of the things that I did was lead focus groups among very specific demographic groups that are still at high risk for HIV, and that includes women of color who have sex with men. And so one of the questions that I asked them foundationally was, what were the messages that you were sent as a young girl about your sexuality? Were you encouraged to explore it? What happened when you had to face a consequence of sex, whether it's pregnancy or getting a disease or, having a bad reputation or something like that? Like what happens after that? And how did that frame how you developed as a sexual person? What is your engagement with the healthcare facilities that you go to for care, particularly gynecological care? Are you judged? Are you made to feel uncomfortable when you're honest about your sexual health and history and habits? Do you feel welcome? Do you feel discriminated against? Do you feel like you're not getting the care that you need based on things that you've shared or aspects of your personal identity? So these are all things that are kind of front and center when we're developing, social posts, when we are talking to experts, intimacy coaches, people in the kink space, who also have their own audiences and communities that we want to connect with and turn those folks into customers. So it's all like really, really important. And the big picture messaging is, use products that are safe for you, safe for the environment, that were made intentionally for you in order to kind of build upon, having pride and agency in who you are as a sexual being, particularly if you are a woman or femme person or queer person of color.
Exactly. And what does that sexual empowerment mean to you, like overall? And I think earlier before we started, we were talking about somebody just recently had a birthday. So, we've kind of been through it. We've kind of seen so many different things, and we've seen the landscape kind of change. Yeah. So what does that mean for you?
So for me personally, I'm on my own journey. And so I'm always learning about new brands, new sex toys and accessories, new ways of looking at relationships, non-traditional ways of relationships. I decided, after being in a monogamous marriage with a man, that there were aspects of that relationship that I no longer want to repeat. Sure. And so I've been exploring, different relationship styles, different, profiles of people that I otherwise would not have considered as a partner. And so this is really very personal for me as I continue on my journey. And I love talking to people who are kind of in the midst of it or starting to kind of understand their needs, realizing that their needs aren't being met. Sure. And trying to, do something about it. The orgasm gap is very real. You know what I mean? Yeah. My sisters who exclusively give their bodies to men have the least sexual satisfaction of all of us. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But ultimately, we all, as human beings, are responsible for our own pleasure. So if we have partners who are insensitive to our needs or, kind of don't know how to please us and we don't know how to communicate that, that's on us. It's on us to, experiment and figure out what we need and then be able to have a safe and loving conversation with our partners about that and have the onus and the agency and the self-love to walk away from relationships that aren't pleasurable.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. And I think that's something that I've learned too, in my journey. It's communication. You got to talk about it, and you can't be shy. And I get it. In your 20s, you're still figuring stuff out. Your 30s, you're a little bit, your chest sticks out a bit. And I think, in my opinion, as soon as you hit your 40s,
it's on.
It's on. You have zero excuses, and especially zero excuses for yourself. Yes. Wholeheartedly agree. So how do you think that we, especially as a small business, sexual wellness business owners, those of us that are in this sphere, contribute to community empowerment and social justice?
Yes. Well, for starters, you guys are our link, our vehicle for finding customers.
And we'd love to. Oh, my God, we're spreading it. That's why, oh, my God, we're spreading it. We fell in love with your brand.
I mean, Absolutely. At the end of the day, we're a business. So, the whole point is to sell products. And in so doing, offer something different. And we are focused on, I call them conscious consumers or mission-aligned consumers. And they are actively seeking our products. They are actively seeking other products that are aligned with their mission, with their personal values. And I think younger generations, you're starting to see more of that. Gen Z and millennials are much more inclined to, spend a little more time finding those products, going to you over a big box store, because as we see sexual wellness expand as a category, you can now buy a dildo in CVS. You can buy enhancement products in Target. So, the retail space is listening, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they always follow the money. So when you start to see that disruption, that means that retailers like you have to kind of double down on keeping those folks and letting them know how important it is to support a small retailer like you guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially, it kind of blew my mind. We also met somebody at that event in Nashville. Forget what brand it was, but vibrators in Target. And
the head of the buyer for CVS Intimate Care was there.
Yeah, it was wild, just to see the landscape and just see everything beginning to shift, but everything's always with a little bit of trepidation. Always. Only because there are the no's, those people that are like, no, we won't be doing that. Yeah. And I know, especially as a small business, especially as a small queer business, transgender business, we try, same in kind of the same realm as Black Alchemy. The only products that we sell are the ones that we know that either we would use ourselves or our close friends have used. I'm not going to, I would always tell everyone, I'm not going to sell you something that I myself would not use or have certain chemicals in it and so on and so forth. We try to stay as natural, if possible, as much as we can. Yeah. So that's the biggest thing with us. But yeah, absolutely. So the good one, because I know you and I were a bit bothered about what happened a few weeks ago.
Yes, we were.
Oh boy, I had some feelings, let me tell you. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts about the future of sexual health in the wake of the election results?
Yes. So we did not get the result that we wanted,
Right.
and fought for and prayed for. The silver lining is that sometimes the most active resistance happens when those other folks are in charge, right? So we're looking at 4 years of an administration led by a man who has been credibly convicted of sexual crimes against women, who is very open about how he feels about women in a negative way. And he's disparaging. He's, for all intents and purposes, a rapist. And so are some of the other men that he is, trying to nominate to be part of his administration. So, the message that sends to the world is, you can harm women and still be elected to the highest office in the land of the most powerful country in the world. So that is very disturbing. But I think the silver lining in that is that we now have time to grieve and process, but also get to work. And so I think people are going to be even more receptive to our messaging because they're looking for ways to resist. They're looking for support in that space, right, where we can resist the prevalence of patriarchal harm, the prevalence of sexual violence against women, the prevalence of double standards when it comes to women and fears and queer folk, and whether or not we deserve to exist, let alone exist in a world where we are, treated with fairness and equality and are allowed to be full human beings. And part of that is being a sexual being and not fearing, arrest, losing a job, getting beat up on the street. All those things are so unnecessary.
No, exactly.
But this is real life for queer people, for Black people, for women. Yeah. For non-binary folks. So, I think we should kind of take this time to really kind of regroup, and figure out how we're going to talk to one another. Because we can't always rely on legislation. We can't always rely on these companies doing the right thing. And so it really has to be kind of like a grounds roots effort on our part. So folks like you and myself, we just got to get in there, get in the trenches, and really start to figure out how we're going to, impact more people with our messages.
Agreed. I was, I called my mom the next morning and she cried, you know, because here she is, this 72-year-old woman. She was born and raised on Puerto Rico. She's seen all that when she came to the States. She's seen it all. And she said to me, why am I seeing this shit all over again? Why am I reliving this?
Yeah. And she may not get another opportunity to vote for a woman.
Yeah. And she was so excited. And for me, I think going into my next phase of life, you know what I mean? Going into our next phase. And I was ready. I was ready to hand the baton over to the newer generation. I was like, all right, she has this. And I felt hope, and I felt okay about having that hope. Yeah. And I was, for a brief moment, my shoulders relaxed, and, I looked at Matt. I was like, babe, we're going to be good. It's going to be
okay.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be a little bit better, and it's going to be some learning, a learning curve, with her and everything, of course, but we're going to be better. And then it was weird. The only way I could describe it was just everything came crashing down. Yeah. And I said to myself, I'm going into the next decade of my life with this man being the president and these people that actively wish us harm. Yes. And I am unapologetic with my anger towards it. However, Matt always calls me a grumpy optimist.
Yeah.
So I am a grumpy optimist. I mean, I am grumpy, but, I'm not going to let my community down. I'm not going to let the Black community down, especially I joke with some of my coworkers, because, of course, as much as I would like for this to be my job, one day it will be. Yeah. I have to have a different job to support this job.
Of course, yeah.
And I was just telling a few friends of mine, I said, I really need to see the Black community in Denver, Colorado, because growing up in the Bronx, the Black community and the Hispanic community, we were all so tight.
Yeah.
And, everybody, all the Black human beings in my life have been a part of the soundtrack of my life. And being here in Denver, whenever I see, a member of the Black community, I'm like, hi, and I get all excited because I feel, Barella, the only way I could say is that I feel more comfortable. You know what I mean? That I'm not the only brown face here.
Yeah. It's so important.
And I just felt like my heart broke.
Yeah.
And I understood the anger for so many Black women. And I was like, shit, be pissed. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I think as a collective, we're putting our capes down and we are trying to take care of ourselves, because whenever we try to, uplift every other communities, and then it's time for them to uplift themselves with us, because whatever good we are trying to advocate for will ultimately impact everyone, because we're the ones that are dealing with racism, sexism, like any social ill that there is to deal with. Black women are dealing with it and have, so we know how to organize, we know how to inspire, we know how to lead, we know how to get folk elected. And it just didn't work out in our favor. And I will reserve, I'm not going to go into what I really think happened, but it looks like it's going to be a rough 4 years. It's not what we wanted. It's not what a lot of us voted for. And so I'm kind of like in acceptance phase a little bit. And I'm just going to keep doing the work that I do. I mean, that's all, I'm just going to keep doing the work that I do and hope that it reaches even more people. I hope that, I think sometimes when empires get too big and too powerful, we'll start to think that it's always going to be the way it is. And if you're not a part of a marginalized community and you've never felt the weight of that boot of the United States government on your neck, you have no idea what's coming. And sometimes people have to experience it. So my takeaway, I keep seeing a lot of creators make this statement: this is not our lesson to learn. Mm-mm. I keep running that sentence in my head over and over. This is not my lesson to learn. I did everything that I could, and we just have to see what happens, but we stay hopeful and vigilant, and we support each other and love on each other. And that's all we can really do right now. I mean, we can do more, but that's the core of it. Just to stay focused and vigilant, and unapologetic. I'm absolutely unapologetic.
Damn right.
About everything that I'm fighting for.
Damn right. I got you. Well, Barella, thank you so much for your time. And you are always welcome here with us. And yes, I'm going to definitely connect with you after that to place our order just in time for the holidays. Amazing. Because it's so important for us to bring Black Alchemy out here, especially to Denver and Colorado, because it'll be a little bit dry and the skin is kind of rough. So, and I know we love it. But thank you again, Barella, and you always are welcome here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So good to see you, Sen.
And thank you, everyone, for joining us today on our podcast. We hope to see you at our store, 3605 West Colfax Avenue here in Denver, or online at disobediencedenver.com. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Thanks again to our guest, Barella Roberson from Black Alchemy. We're also going to have a link to Black Alchemy if you want to order directly from her. We highly suggest it. The website is gorgeous, beautiful, easy to follow, and you get a little bit of history from them as well. We'll see you next time. And again, and as always, stay disobedient. Barella, you are my hero.
Oh my God, you're my